All right, hey, shalom, shalom. Before I get started, as always, I want to give all praise unto our power, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations and blessings to the hopeful elect that is scattered throughout the four winds of the earth, that believe wholeheartedly in the true doctrine that is being pushed throughout the four winds of the earth, war in hope of mercy and salvation in these last seconds of these last days of Esau, Edom's rule on the planet Earth. All right. This will be a commentary here on this quick CBN News clip that was shared by the beloved Elder Barak out here on the West, and you know they're pushing that propaganda of T attacks. All right, they calling them sleeper cells here put by Iran. All right, especially after DJT did what he did in bombing, or so-called bombing, their nuclear facilities, 3 of their nuclear facilities. So they basically putting the American people on alert, but at the same time, the American people are so docile, they're still gonna be out there and still make themselves vulnerable. So when something does happen, the boogeyman is gonna be Iran now. All right. Back in 2001, the boogeyman was Saddam. When the fighter jets, the commercial airlines were hijacked and went into the towers and took them down, so-called. Which, you know, if you still believe that, then, you know, I don't know what to tell you. But even going back then, the propaganda was pushed, something happened, and then that fueled the war that took place, which them going into Iraq, so-called getting WODs, all right, which they never found any, but they found a bunch of gold, all right, and they took over oil reserves, all right. That's what it really was about. Okay, so now the new boogeyman is Iran, all right, and they have sleeper cells here in the U.S. that have been activated and waiting to cause some form of destruction, all right. Which this is all prophecy, all right. We are in the time of the Lord judging Babylon the Great, okay? So let's play this, and as scriptures and thoughts come to me through the Spirit, you know, I'm gonna stop and go. And Lord will, this is edifying and informative to the hopeful elect. So let's listen.
After President Trump left the G7 summit in Canada a day early last week, it was learned he had received a message from Iran that if the U.S. attacked Iran's nuclear facilities, the regime could activate sleeper cells to launch terror attacks in the United States. The FBI says
So there's your propaganda, all right? And this is going to be used to bring down more forced control, all right? More lockdowns, more curfews, all right? More to keep the people afraid, all right? Psychological warfare. This is all that ties in, all right? And it's leading up to the point to where if you are not an enemy of the U.S. of A., all right, then you will want to get the MOTB, which is the RFID technology. This is where this is all leading. All right, they're gonna make anyone who doesn't accept that form of identification / payment / the new way of life they're going to deem you an enemy, okay? And these events that are leading up to them making it mandatory are just that, psychological warfare or psyops, which indeed people will die, all right? However these T attacks will happen, it will be real, all right? But the result is to put the fear upon you so that you may conform to this government, conform to the ways of this life. And we know the scriptures say, be not conformed with this world, for the fashion of this world is getting ready to pass away, man. All right? So all these events are leading up to the great event. All right? The mandatory MOTB, micro C hipping. And then ultimately, that's going to declare your fate as an Israelite.
Are fully engaged to prevent an attack, and Homeland Security is warning of a heightened threat environment, but saying little else.
What information do we know right now in regards to those sleeper cells? How is DHS tracking and following and seeking information in regards to them?
I can't necessarily share that with you, but I will tell you.
Here it is. The threat is heightened, but they can't share what they know to the public. Only thing they can say is that we going after certain people. It's all propaganda, man. But the danger is real, all right? Esau, he has sacrificed many just so he can pass a law, all right?
That we are continuing to evaluate every single threat and to proactively go after them before they do anything or take any activity.
This week, federal immigration agents have arrested 11 Iranians here illegally. One arrested in Alabama was an Iranian army sniper. Another in Houston was carrying a loaded pistol. Counterterrorism expert Barak Siner in London says Iran, defeated on the battlefield, may see a sleeper cell attack as the only way it can hurt the United States.
The entire identity of Iran is a terrorist state. The reach is global. It attempted to conduct a proxy attack in the UK, in Sweden, in Argentina, Cyprus, Thailand.
And he believes Iran took full advantage of the Biden administration's open border policies, in which millions of illegal migrants entered the U.S.
Hundreds, if not thousands.
Now, if you remember the movie, Salaki, I'll keep stopping it, but you remember the movie Sicario 2. When you watch that movie, they show you a particular scene that they emphasize where some Muslims came over through the border. And they emphasized the prayer rugs that was left. And then the very next scene, I believe it was, you had these Muslims, all right, Iranians, going into a convenience store and blowing themselves up in the name of Allah. Okay. So they matter of fact, let's see, when did that movie come out? Let me look it up on my phone. All right. And that movie came out, I believe, like maybe 2015, 16, somewhere around there. Let me look it up real quick. But they have that scene in that movie, all right? And there was some just like they said, they came in through the border, all right? And what happened? They blew themselves up to cause damage on the American people. And this is what's coming. And it's going to be a lot worse than 9/11, man. Okay? Give me a second. Yeah, it came out in 2018. All right? That movie came out in 2018, 7 years ago. Almost to the exact. It came out June 29th, 2018. Today is the 26th of June. 2025. So almost to the date 7 years ago. All right.
Thousands of Iranian nationals passed through the doors of the United States.
CBN's Chuck Holton has reported from Panama's Darien Gap, where migrants must cross on their way to the United States. And he says he encountered many Iranian men.
Every Iranian that I met in the Darien Gap was military-age male, and I didn't meet any Iranian women at all. They mostly spoke English, so they were well educated, and none of them were with their families.
Last year, the Justice Department uncovered an Iranian plot to kill Donald Trump before the election. Washington also knows.
Let me bring in the scripture. All right? It just came to me dealing with these T attacks. All right? Let's go to the book of Isaiah 47. All right? Because this describes a T attack. Okay? Yeah, starting at verse 8, Isaiah the 47th chapter, verses 8 through 9, all right? It says, "Therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures," speaking of Babylon the Great, America, "that dwellest carelessly," all right? They were just speaking about the border being open and these different officials. That man in particular, I forget his name, he was just saying every Iranian he encountered was of military age male, all right? No women with him, no families, okay? And we know, we all seen the videos going back to 2020 when the gates or the border was wide open and people were coming in here by the droves, all right? They would show whole platoons of men, all right, that were coming in at night at times, and not just from Iran, from China, okay? So that part of the plan has already fell through to get those people over here so that they can cause damage to the American people, because they know and understand that the soldiers, the American soldiers, will not inflict harm upon their own people. Yeah, they may stand out there and create a wall, like dealing with this ICE, you know, with the whole National Guard being deployed and whatnot. Yeah, they might just stand out there, shoot rubber bullets and tear gas and whatnot, but they're not going to fire live ammunition and actually do some real harm to American people, not the American soldiers, whether they be Marines or whether they be National Guard or whatever. They know and understand that. This is why the part of that plan was to allow these other military from different countries, which, you know, you have these different type of troops, the UN, the Gurkha troops, all right, the Northern Command troops, the African Command troops, all these different troops that came over here that are waiting to be activated, all right, when civil unrest or so-called T attacks happen. However they may do it, all right, they all have been brought over here, all right, for the purpose of the NWO, the New World Order, okay, because America will be the biggest problem that this the elite will have to you know, bring into submission. This is why the Lord is going to use America, saving America for last, all right? Because every American citizen, damn near, well, I'll say this, there's more registered weapons than there are American citizens in America. It's not like that in no other country on the planet, all right? Okay, so they know and understand once this thing is cracking, and they see the Patriots, you know, they see the MAGA, the people of MAGA, they turning on DJT because of his new policy now, all right? They see that the people are upset. He's being booed at his own parades. They're having these no kings marches. All right, they're planning on doing another one, I believe, on the 4th. All right, and his approval rating is hella low right now. So they know and understand that the people of Babylon are upset, and they're not feeling DJT and this administration and what they're doing. All right, so they're gonna use the reinforcements of these different nations to try to put the people in subjection, which that's going to be all out chaos and war. All right, see, the Lord saved this thing, this climax of the end of this movie in Babylon. He saved it for last because it's going to be that much violence. All right, as it is written in Revelation, the 18th chapter. Thus, with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, because it was founded on violence, and it's only right for it to go out on violence. All right. So let me finish this. Back in Isaiah 47:8, it says, "Therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children." And you see, what's going on in Gaza and those different parts of the world over there, where the people are being bombed with drones and losing children, crying with their lifeless children in their arms and things of that nature. The American society does not think that will happen over here. Okay? You got actual rangers that say, "Oh, it's coming. We're due." All right? You got actual rangers saying that type of environment is coming over here. All right? And scripturally, the scriptures tell us in Galatians 6 and 7, be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And what has Babylon the Great sown in the planet Earth? Just that: rape, rob, murder of children, pillaging of lands. All right? They've done all this throughout the planet Earth, and you think that it's not coming back to this place? It indeed is coming back to this place. All right? They're going to reap what they have sown. All right? And this is why it's imperative for you to have Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai within you, because it's going to be that crazy out here, man. Okay? Verse 9, "But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day." All right? And that, just like 9/11 happened. When 9/11 happened, it was a nice, sunny, clear day. I'll never forget. I was getting ready to go to college. I was getting, in their room, getting ready, about to go up to the college. You know what I'm saying? And I was fresh out of high school. You know what I'm saying? So college had just started. So I was on my, getting the fall semester. I'll never forget. I came out getting ready to leave, and my mom was like, "They bombed us." She's standing in front of the TV. You know what I'm saying? "They bombed us." And I was like, "What you talking about?" And I look, and I see the damn buildings on fire or smoking. I'm like, "Oh, shit." You know what I'm saying? So I sat there for a minute like, "What happened?" And then she, explained it. And then, of course, the news explained it. And I was like, damn. But I wasn't in the mind state of the way I'm in. I was playing ball heavy at the time. So I was like, well, shit, I'm about to go to school. I get up to school, that's all that was talked about. We in class, we ain't even learning about we was supposed to. We had the goddamn news on. You know what I'm saying? So that brought a standstill throughout all of Babylon. All right? All of Babylon came to a standstill, especially New York. Okay? So just as that happened in a moment and in one day, where people weren't even expecting it to happen, it's going to be the same when the Most High brings it again in Babylon the Great. All right? And they're actually warning with the propaganda of Iran activating these sleeper cells. Okay? So don't be surprised, when things start to happen. And something could happen on the 4th. It may be a small T attack, at a gathering or something, and some Arabs roll up with AK-47s and just get to laying people down. All right, just like what happened in Vegas a few years back, at that country music festival. You had somebody shooting and just was unaliving people that were having a good time. All right. We're not in the time of being in big crowds and having fun with a bunch of worldly motherfuckers, man. Okay? If you believe in this truth, you should know that we ain't in the time of mirth. Okay? You wanna do something, barbecue, do it at home. You know what I'm saying? Don't be out going to these events, all right? And your ass end up missing a leg, or worst case scenario, your life. So back verse 9, it says, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children, all right, and widowhood, all right, and the Most High mean that, in a moment and in one day, all right, these things can take place. You're going to lose children, and it's going to be a lot of women out here that become widows because their husbands are going to be put to death. All right? It says, they shall come upon thee in their perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. All right? So this is deeply rooted in the spiritual wickedness that Babylon has been involved in since its inception. All right? We ain't even, talking about how deeply rooted. Like last week at the camp, the brother Mike Allah had brought up, I believe with the brother Kazak out of Mississippi, had brought up that America's nothing more but a giant Ouija board. And he's absolutely correct. All right? Absolutely correct. This place is built on spiritual wickedness in high places. All right? Everything about America is left-hand energy. Everything. Okay? You got trannies running around freely. Witches just freely. All right? When the scriptures tell you these things are not to exist in a righteous society. Okay? But this is far from that. So the deeply rooted wickedness is about to get paid back for the wickedness. All right? So let's go back to the video.
That a Hezbollah sleeper cell called Unit 910 is operating in the United States, ready to carry out Iran's orders. Iran, though, may also take a different route, a cyber attack. The Commission on the National Defense Strategy warned senators last year that the United States is...
Right, a cyber attack can be a result in a straight-up blackout. All right, no electrical power, no communications. And that was something that happened in ancient Egypt, all right, where the Lord sent blackness or darkness upon the land, so dark that it could be felt, okay? And that's Second Ezra's, the 16th chapter, 15th, 16th chapter. And I will bring plagues upon Egypt as before, all right? This is the time, man. All right? This is the time. I'll be shocked we get through the summer without anything happening. All right? Well, really, I wouldn't be shocked because it'll be too obvious. You know what I'm saying? It'll be too obvious But Esau right now, he being so sloppy, he just doing shit. Okay?
Unprepared for a devastating cyber attack that will bring life in towns and cities across America to a standstill.
The public is essentially clueless about the massive cyber attacks that could be launched any day by our adversaries, not just nation states, but rogue actors as well.
Iran in the past is hacked
I thought
into...
America was this great, can't be penetrated, greatest military on the planet. It's all bullshit, man. Propaganda at its finest. All right? They know they need to control the American people. And what better way to control you than through fear? Okay?
Water systems in several states and could use what it's learned to attack America's critical infrastructure, including internet, power, transportation, and financial systems, in an effort to make almost everything, from phones to gas pumps to cash machines to traffic lights, suddenly stop working.
We're in a cyber Cold War today. We've got vulnerabilities with air traffic, radar systems. We've got vulnerabilities in our 911 systems.
The potential targets for Iran are numerous, and defending everything will be difficult.
All right, well, Dale Hurd certainly has our attention, and he joins us now for more. Dale, this Hezbollah cell unit called 910 sounds ominous. What can you tell us about it?
We only know about it because they nabbed agents as they were taking photos of potential targets in New York City. We don't know a lot, but we know that it's Hezbollah, and Hezbollah does Iran's dirty work, and it adds another layer to the sleeper cell threat.
What about cyber attacks on the U.S.? How prepared are we to defend against a cyber attack?
You know, I interviewed the man responsible for protecting the U.S. grid from a cyber attack, Dr. Andy Bachman at Idaho National Lab. And his message was, we're doing a lot, we're doing the best we can, it's probably not enough. And I came out of that thinking people need to have reserves of food, 30 days if possible. And I would also store fuel if you can do it safely. Because
So there it is. You hear them. They telling you without telling you to be prepared, because something is coming. All right? Something major is coming. You know, that's pretty much it on the video. Let's get a couple more scriptures. Let me type this in, because I know it's Jeremiah either 50 or 51. Fill thee with men. All right? And this took place, 51. This took place when they opened up that border, man. All right? Where the Lord allowed all these different men to come in here from these different nations. That's going to, wreak havoc on the land, man. Okay? We're going to start at... we'll start at 12. The key point I want is the 14th verse. And we're going to look up a couple words. Jeremiah 51:12, it says, set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambushes. Okay? There will be ambushes here in Babylon, man. When an ambush happens when you least expecting it. Okay? Just going about your day. Could be a clear, nice summer day. Barbecue going. And then all of a sudden, destruction. All right? And it's going to come upon you in its perfection. All right? This is what's getting ready to happen here in Babylon, man. Okay? This is the next step to their plan. They're gonna bring so much havoc and trauma, violence and destruction that the people are gonna want protection from the government. They're gonna want to receive the RFID technology. All right, they're gonna beg and line up for protection from this system, man, because it's gonna be too much. This place has That's why I was back in Isaiah 47, thou that are given to pleasures and dwellest carelessly. This place ain't never seen no real war, man. It ain't never seen war. All right, this is why it's known as the virgin daughter of Babylon. All right, in the movie Book of Eli, there was a scene where the chick asked her what was the world like before, and Denzel's character Eli, he said people had how do you put it? People threw away what we kill for now, something to that effect. Basically, the abundance of at your waiting moment, you can order anything from food to a goddamn woman, or even a woman, she can order a man, all right, for pleasure. All right, this is that great city of Babylon, man. All right, this is Sodom. All right, just completely oblivious to the state of the rest of the world and the affliction that this place has put on the rest of the world, and put these different countries in states of poverty beyond the American people can even fathom. All right, even the impoverished here in Babylon get aid. All right, or welfare, but what do? They so strung out on drugs, they sell it. All right. You have other countries where they don't have a welfare set up because the American government went in there and took over their system and made it dirt shit poor, to where they can't even afford to take care of the poor of their people. They can't even live off their own land. Okay? And meanwhile, here in Babylon, there's a fucking concert every weekend. Whether it be an NBA game or a baseball game or football game, you're constantly given to these pleasures and made oblivious to the fact of the condition of the rest of the world that this place has afflicted on. All right, and you think that it's not gonna happen to you, but it's gonna happen to you. I read or I quoted earlier Galatians 6 and 7. All right. So back in Jeremiah 51:12 again, it says, set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon, make the watch strong, set up the watchmen, prepare the ambushes, for the Lord hath both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. All right, and it's getting ready to go down. All right, O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures. Okay, Babylon, America, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. All right, let me look up this word ambush here in verse 12. Let's look that up real quick. Prepare the ambushes. All right, the Hebrew word is arab. All right, which means to lie in wait, ambush, lurk. And what have these? What is a sleeper cell? All right, let's type that in online etymology. Let's type in sleeper cell. All right, because essentially that's what a sleeper cell is. Someone that's lying in wait. All right. Let's see if we can get it here. Now let's go to Google. Let me see. Salakia. This other phone I got, I ain't updated my iPad, so I'm gonna type it in right here. is a sleeper cell? You know, now that Google's AI now, here it is. It says it here on my other phone. It says, a sleeper cell refers to a group or individual that operates within a target country, remaining undetected and inactive until they are activated to carry out a specific mission or attack. Now, what does it say about ambush? To lie in wait. Ambush, lurk, to lie in wait, meaning undetected, okay? To lurk, all right? Let's see if we can get that in the etymology. Let's see real quick. Lurk, to hide, lie hidden, all right? Point blank period. Let's go back. Okay? It says, back in verse 13, it says, O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come. And America's abundant in everything, all right? If you got the money to pay for it, all right, you can basically have anything at your weight. Okay? Abundant. Don't you know other countries are, them people over there in Palestine and the Gaza Strip, they can't even get fresh water and food. You know what I'm saying? In other countries. But like in the movie, like I quoted the Book of Eli, people kill for what they threw away before in the old world. All right. You ever work in the grocery stores? Things that haven't even expired, they throw it all away. When there's people out there starving, homeless. Okay, abundant in treasures. Thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. The Lord of hosts hath sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. See that? That's all them troops that came in here. All right? And what's the nature of a caterpillar? Let's look that up. All right? Caterpillar. Young locust. All right? The early stage of development. Caterpillar. As devouring. All right? So what are these men going to do? Once they are activated, once they are set for the ambush, they're going to devour this society, man. All right? It says cankerworm or caterpillar, from an unused root meaning to lick up, a devourer, specifically the young locust. When them swarms of locusts come, if a swarm of locusts came onto some crops, they can destroy them crops in matters of hours and fly on to the next. So this is what the Lord is comparing these men that he's filled this place up with. So when the time comes, they're going to do what locusts do to crops, meaning devour and destroy it. All right? I mean, the point is pretty much made. All right? So I'll read 14 again. All right? It says, the Lord of hosts hath sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. All right? And that's going to be that ambush. Whenever the Lord gives the okay For this thing to go down, it's going to go down. And just like we read in Isaiah 47, it shall come upon thee in one day, in a moment, and they shall come in perfection. Okay? So I'm going to end it there. Lord will, this was edifying, straight to the point. Edifying and exhorting to the hopeful elect. Giving all praise to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And we on to the next. Shalom.